While he's doing that, if y'all don't mind, one thing I would suggest would be, if you are not speaking, please mute your microphone.
Yes.
Just to preserve the integrity of the recording. Otherwise, that way we're not getting a lot of background noise, since we are recording this for future reference, or for those who were unable to make the call. So just when you want to speak, go ahead and unmute yourself, but during the time that you're not speaking, please keep your microphone muted, just to help keep things clean. Thank you.
All right, everybody. Well, I am Mark Holdeman. I am the Southwestern District Director of Leadership Training, and welcome to our little conversation tonight, just to kind of see where everybody's at, how everybody's doing, engaging with the community. We've got a number of people here online, so which is a good turnout. Also, before we get going here, I want to introduce some of the other people that are going to be talking tonight. We've got our District President, Russell Shaner, Scott Baylor, our Executive VP, Katie Dane, our Director of Music and Performance, and Rocky Willett, our Marketing Director, and a couple other district people, Mark Clark, Dwayne Cooper, and I think there might be one or two others here. Speak up if I don't see you here. I can only get so many on my screen here, but most of us will be, I see our immediate past president, Richard Howell, there. And so Gary Hanna, our district secretary. So Gary, feel free to jump in if you've got anything else that comes up. Each of us are going to kind of go around and talk a little bit about our own areas and some things that we've got going. And then we're going to open it up to all of the chapters here, just to kind of let us know how you're doing, how things are going, and any insights and things that you might have or things you might need. So I'm going to turn it over to Scott Baylor at this point, and he'll get things going.
Well, thank you, Mark. Good evening, everyone. Just to kick this off, I want to give a little bit of background of why we wanted to get together tonight with you. This is going to be, for the most part, an open forum. As we all know, COVID has been difficult on our chapters. It's been difficult on the district. And just reaching out to the community has proven to be a challenge. And we want to kind of use tonight to share some ideas, not only give you some ideas that we've been talking about as a group amongst the district, but also just to get an open forum for you guys to share some of the experiences that you've had in connecting with your community, both as you know, in the pre-COVID times and also throughout COVID, and what you anticipate doing to try to, as we start to escape this, hopefully, knock on wood, in the near future. So we just kind of wanted to open this up. I know that we've got a couple of people that are going to give a couple of ideas that they've had for things that they've done in the past, just to kind of seed things. And then from that point, we're just going to open it up, and anyone who wants to share, please do so. This is going to be not structured at all. We're not coming with a whole lot of information here. This is more so an open opportunity for us just to share amongst chapter leaders of things that have worked and things that they plan on doing in their community, to see if we can spur some ideas amongst those who may be finding it a little bit challenging right now. So I just wanted to mention that from the start. First of all, thank you all for showing up. It's really great to see everyone. It's I'm really looking forward to that we can all get back together and see each other in person. But thanks for coming this evening. Really greatly appreciate it. Mark?
Okay, well, first up here, I'm going to turn it over to our Director of Music and Performance, Katie Dane. She's got some things that she wants to share that I think are going to be real helpful. So.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. Hope everybody's doing well and recovered after our snow apocalypse. But I just wanted to kind of kick things off. Through my work with Harmony University the last few years, I've been able to do some good work with the outreach team there, and then also the diversity and inclusion people from like Devin Bradford and Joe Cerruti. And so I have a presentation that I was able to attend and be a part of this past year, which kind of touches on a lot of the community topics that we wanted to bring up tonight. And we're really looking forward for dialogue amongst the people that are here tonight of things that have worked well for you, you know, pre-COVID, and then maybe some of the conversations that you're starting to have now that you want to be able to implement moving forward to help kind of grow the bonds of your chapters and their impact in the community, or finding ways to collaborate with other fine arts organizations in your community. And if we might be able to share that tonight and see what's working, or see if there's something out there that's working for one chapter that might be able to help benefit another. So that's kind of where we're coming at tonight. So I'm just going to share screen, and then we'll go over a couple of these items from Devin and Joe's presentation. Okay, so this is kind of going towards new audiences and then building trust, etc. I'll just fly through some of these. If anybody saw that in the Harmonizer, this is the article and area that they took a lot of their content from.
I'm on a Zoom, and I've got Chris Hole as a name, and I've got no volume, and the
Maybe Mark, could you maybe mute everybody?
speaker's coming from the laptop. I know.
Okay, so we'll just keep going. So just something to think about as you guys are going to going forward in what you're going to be doing in your own communities. Just remember that this is not about a membership recruitment time, that this is really about being a part and kind of falling into the fold of what already exists in your community. It is great to be able to grow your audiences, but making sure that there's not any like underlying things that you're doing to try and just recruit from one organization to join your organization. Diversity, keeping that in mind of like what other performing organizations are in your community, or maybe arts groups, things like that, that you might be able to kind of broaden the perspective or think outside the box of who you might be able to be in touch with. Here's some resources here that they recommended, just thinking about what singing does for people. As we've known through the pandemic, a lot of us have really reevaluated what the experience means. So just keep that in mind in the forefront of how you choose to move forward and who you connect with. And then here's some of the questions that we wanted to bring up tonight. You know, where are you with your group? What opportunities are you looking for? Like maybe you've revisited some of your chorus goals, and maybe this aligns with one of your goals. And then thinking of, you know, what is the group doing right now that's already successful that might be appealing to others, or might be able to create an opportunity for you to collaborate on something. And then see if there's other organizations that kind of align with your MO, or that might be a good fit. And then some partnerships. I know I saw Travis on here. They might be able to talk a bit about the stuff they're doing in Houston. I know that they're doing a lot of collaboration with other groups there. And then staying focused on doing like small things that can make a big impact. I hope that maybe tonight we might be able to get some ideas, something that could be done even right now when we're not meeting in person, but maybe we could start those conversations with some of those groups even before we come back together to sing. And then sharing your story. So making sure that you're keeping in mind, like, you know, what is your goal as a chorus? Like, what's your mission? You know, is it about just sharing music with others, or, you know, are you an education focused chorus? Are you a performance oriented chorus? And just kind of keeping that in mind as far as choosing what steps you want to take. And then here's a few other questions that probably could help guide us tonight. So let's go ahead and open it up to some discussion and some chat. If there's some ideas that you see here from these questions or things that you've brought tonight that we might be able to start the conversation.
I don't know if you're aware of this. This is Brad Gott with East Texas Men in Harmony. I don't know if y'all are aware. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you. Thanks.
Yes. I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but we've been practicing in person since probably last June, and maybe even earlier than that. We made a decision as a chorus to make an effort to meet using COVID protocols. I personally take everybody's temperature when they arrive at practice and also give them hand sanitizer. And we practice social distancing, spread out. We're a small enough chorus and we have a large enough practice place that we can actually spread ourselves out and still maintain some practice quality. So we've been doing that since last June and have been very successful. We haven't had any rampant COVID outbreaks or anything of that nature. We've had several members of ours have had COVID, but very, very mild cases of it. And they took it upon themselves to isolate themselves and quarantine themselves if and when they felt necessary. So we didn't necessarily forcibly impose them to do that. But we've been very lucky and have been able to carry on our practices throughout the COVID quarantine or COVID issue, I guess. As a matter of breakout or what we're trying to do here, we naturally last year had all of our performances pretty much canceled by the person that was scheduling the performances. So we had to move on, keep ourselves practicing, keep the chorus together as best we could. And I've done a pretty good job. We've got about 80% attendance. So we're back up to about 80% attendance. And I think that's where we hopefully will get back to 100% attendance when the vaccines take effect and things of that nature, people become more comfortable. We've got two live performances, 2 shows coming up, one in April and one in May. And so far, those are still on, and we look forward to singing those. I don't believe that either of the venues are going to require us to sing with masks, but I'm not 100% on that. Irv, if you're on and if you know different, feel free to chime in there. We also had a Singing Valentine's program this year. We sent out a blast email survey to people that have been former patrons and people that are on our email list, et cetera, asking them what they thought they would think about in-person singing Valentine's versus a videoed singing Valentine's that they could sing to someone. We got most of our responses were, hey, we'd really like to hear you, but we're still a little bit scared. We prefer to do a video Valentine's. So we went ahead with promoting the video Valentine's pretty hard, but we still had several requests for in-person singing. So we had 2 quartets that went out and sang in person using masks if required and practice social distancing. And we had 1 quartet for the most part doing most of the video singing Valentine's. And we sent those out with pretty good success. We also sang we've been requested and have been singing at some senior centers, senior living centers. Those people have been shut in for the most part and have been very isolated. So we've had a few requests to come sing for them. Now, we don't really sing in person so much to them. We had 1 performance that was outside when the weather was nice, and they put people in wheelchairs and walkers and things of that nature, put some chairs up so people could come out there and sit outside and listen to us as a quartet. And we also had another performance at a senior living center in Henderson where we performed for a lady's 97th birthday. So we've had a lot of good opportunities considering the circumstances, and they were very appreciative. We also sang at a senior living center for Valentine's.
And Brad, what's your chapter name again?
East Texas Men in Harmony out of Tyler.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
So it sounds like in your community that your people are open to having in-person performances, that you've been able to maintain some sort of safety for the singers as well, and that you have a couple upcoming performances in April and May.
Yes.
Before.
Yes. Yes. And we did have a successful singing Valentine's program. So I've also contacted the local symphony, Longview Symphony actually, contacted them, and they are going to arrange for a concert or a show with us this fall. So we're working on making a joint concert or a performance with them. And I've yet to be able to talk to the Tyler Symphony. I'd like to do the same thing with Tyler Symphony. But so far things are looking up. They're looking better. We got ways to go, but this stuff scared the heck out of everybody. And I wish we didn't have to put up with it.
You know, Brad, and
You
others.
mentioned singing Valentine's. Are there any other chapters that also did virtual singing Valentine's this year? And if so, maybe put your chat name into the chat, because I think it'd be interesting to see if that's something that you're going to continue doing in future years as a virtual option, as well as in person once we can do that.
We certainly will. I know that.
Hey, Bradford, this is Rocky.
Hey, Rocky.
For anybody else out there, if you have any video or pictures of y'all doing this, send them to me. I'd sure would like to make a little article and report on how we did in February with both COVID and the snowvid.
We'll see what we can come up with.
You know, and as I suspect moving forward, we're going to see a lot of organizations in our communities, you know, the Lions Clubs, the Kiwanis, you know, city and county functions like, you know, police or fire and hospitals, or even like Habitat for Humanity, that are just going to be looking for not only people to, you know, to kind of make them feel normal again through things like the singing that we do, but also there may be opportunities for us to reach out to the community where we're not singing, but maybe we're doing things like supporting Habitat for Humanity as a chorus or as a chapter, to be able to just get our name out there and make connections that way that don't necessarily initially start off with the idea of singing, but maybe may lead to something like that.
We also had 2 Veterans Day related activity performances that we sang at Veterans celebration and ceremony in Tyler, and one at an airport as well. So we were active.
Maybe we could have Travis if you wouldn't mind sharing the concert that you guys do with Space City. I know Matt had requested a little bit of information about that too.
Yeah, sure. Are you talking about our I guess our performance that we had over the holiday season?
Yeah, you had a virtual concert, and then isn't there also like an a cappella competition or something that's across the city?
Right. Yeah. So I guess the a cappella competition I'll talk about first, because it'll be shorter because it didn't happen this year. But the sing off is a really fun competition that we were invited to. One of our local like outdoor shopping centers, Rice Village, decided to kind of start this I guess a cappella competition for the holidays. And actually we've got a couple of other quartet gigs for some of these like outdoor shopping centers that have it's basically an outdoor mall with like a little courtyard in the middle. So kind of interesting that some of these places are looking for that kind of entertainment, whether it's like a formal event or just like some ambient entertainment, especially during the holidays. But anyway, I guess we're invited to that, and I guess the first year they put it on, and been invited back ever since. That's given us some exposure to not just to the community, but some opportunity to interact with other a cappella groups that whether they be from one of the local universities or even some other actual barbershop groups that have been invited to that. As well, gives us an opportunity to all kind of be there and interact together. It's kind of fun. Of course, didn't happen this past year, but has happened every other year since 2017, which has been great. This year we started meeting with some other choral communities in the Houston area. Back in, I want to say April was when we had our first Zoom meetings. So we were fortunate that another group, I guess, set it up and found us and invited us to just be on this monthly chat to just kind of moan and groan and be a safe place about and talk about how we're doing in the midst of the pandemic. And so that was really interesting and fun. And I guess when the holidays came around August, September, decided to put together a concert. So I think that what that tells me is if, you're outside of the Houston area, reaching out to your other community ensembles. I think that Houston Show Choir just put out an email blast probably to 15 or so different groups, just to like their leadership to see whoever would want to show up. And we had, I think, 7 or 9 groups first meeting and a couple come in, come out. But a pretty solid core of 5 different ensembles that decided to put on this joint concert, which also worked really well for us because we put on a full concert, but 5 different groups were participating. So, monetization was hard, but we weren't holding our breath for money. We just wanted to have a performance goal, but it was ideal in the sense that we only had to provide content for a fifth of a concert. Which was a lot easier than approaching a full concert, especially a full virtual concert by yourself. And also we've been working with Randy and Paul and some guys from the Tides of trying to put something together for Barbershop Harmony Day this year too. That's also virtual. So engaging your other communities and your other choral ensembles, barbershop, not barbershop, in your community, even just other music ensembles, doesn't even have to be singing based. There's a lot of opportunity there that has been really good to connect and get different ideas from and bounce ideas back and forth and just commiserate together as we can't meet in person. So, or not all of us are ready to meet in person yet, at least.
So Travis, I guess one of the things that comes out of what you just mentioned there is not just the connections that you're making with these groups for a virtual concert, but also, when the time does come that we can all start performing live again, for most of us, it's going to take a little bit of time to be able to put together enough repertoire to be able to do an entire show. Whereas if you have already made these connections with other fine arts organizations within your local area, you can be then working the day that that the opportunity presents itself. You can have a number of 4, 5, 6 different groups that all put on 15 minutes. And that's an entire show right there, and that'll be exactly what the community is going to need, when we start to come out of this thing. So I think that's a great idea.
Absolutely, and we're all really excited about the prospect of doing that once everyone's comfortable with meeting in person again. So we formed great friendships with our other partners in the community. Very much recommend reaching out. And we were just kind of lucky and got found, but I'm sure if you email, look up all your different musical ensembles in your area and just want to email blast, and we're probably we might be near the end of COVID here, but email blast and say, let's figure out how to get through this together and work together to put on something that's going to be fulfilling for our community and for each other. Then I think there's appetite there.
Definitely. Yeah, I think that's definitely true, Travis. And frankly, that kind of leads me into one of the things I wanted to talk about. As a lot of you might know, the society has recently updated their member center. And I've gone in and been able to find some really good information here. For instance, especially if you're a chapter leader, you can go in and pull down chapter reports. And I'm going to share my screen here for just a second to kind of show you what I've been able to find here. Let me get my, hang on here. Let me take this off. Okay, can y'all see that? Can you see the Excel sheet that I'm showing there?
Yes.
Okay, good. This is a chapter report that I was able to pull down. And the nice thing I see about it is that it lists not only current members of the chapter, but all the former chapters or former members of your chapter. So what you can do is go in and do like a data select and, well, I just moved it, but sort it by your former members. Let me undo that move there. And sort it by your former members and put them all together. And it gives you an instant database of all of the people that have dropped off for the last several years in your chapter. And guys, that's low hanging fruit to be able, when we come back out of this pandemic, to go back to all of these people and say that, hey, now that we're out of this, people are going to be hungry to sing again. And that follow up with all of these people and show them and contact them and let them know, hey, we're back in business. Here we are. And you won't get all of them, but you'll get a few of them. And who knows, the person that you get back in your chorus might be that spark plug that is able to help keep the chapter going for the next years or so. So be sure and explore that member center out. Explore for that member center. There's been some good tutorials on the society website to make use of that. And also here in our Southwestern District YouTube channel that Scott did a fantastic job of setting up, as he was in this Director of Leadership training position last year. There are some fantastic offerings on there in terms of not only training for president, secretary, treasurer, marketing, but also some seminars that we had last year on fundraising, recruiting and retention, grant writing, developing a growth mindset during COVID with Joe Cerruti. There are some great things on there that if you haven't had a chance to go log on to that YouTube channel for the Southwestern District, go subscribe to it. And as we're going to be putting this meeting on that channel as well, and as we add to that we're going to be doing this year, you'll get notifications that more and more of these will be on that. So be sure and check both of those sources out. Let's see, I think somebody wanted to see with Eric over in Amarillo to see what they're doing.
Evening. You guys hear me?
Hey, there we go, Eric. Yeah.
How are you? I'm sorry I was late. I was playing cards. I was playing gin with my wife and my brother-in-law. Time got away, so I apologize. Amarillo, we're the Golden Spread Chorus, which has been around since the 40s, I understand. I've been a member for 10 or 11 years. When I joined, man, we'd have 25 guys on the risers. This last year before COVID hit, 12 or 13 would be a good number. We have been meeting for rehearsals on a semi-regular basis since October, maybe. We've been social distanced. It's been indoors, big room, but social distanced. but we'll have 7 to 10 members. Just last week we had 7 members at rehearsal, I think. We're also without really a full-time director. One of the guys is filling in that role right now, just to help get us through the time that we're in. I don't know what the future holds for Golden Spread Chorus. We really haven't had any sort of meetings about what do we want our future to be, but perhaps we will in the near future. You know, we're solvent, and we've got some good voices. We've got some good folks that we know of, but they're just not comfortable being out right now, or they're having health problems themselves, you know, whatever the reason. There are probably about 4 or 5 in that category right now. And a couple who are RVing. They fled the cold of Amarillo. They're looking very smart right now, although we've warmed up, but they fled the cold of winter, which that happens. And I'm sure that happens in other chapters too, other organizations. So we'll be getting together again this Tuesday. Tuesday night is our meeting night. Again, we have a large room, we can spread out. I think most of us now have gotten at least 1 vaccination. I know several of us, I'm in that category, have gotten both vaccinations. So you do feel a little bit more comfortable, but not entirely. I mean, you've got to be on your toes. I'm still thinking about when I'm going to go back to my church choir. They keep asking me to come back. And I know that they've tried to implement some protocols to make people feel comfortable. But I'm, you know, if they're getting 20 to 30 people, I'm really not feeling comfortable yet at that size of a group, or maybe even larger. Even though I do have vaccinations, and many of them do, but we'll see. I mean, it's opening up. I mean, I think that's probably what I would have heard if I had been in all of the call. But that's kind of where we are. Hopeful, but kind of wondering at the same time. I just went ahead and contacted a couple of our sports teams, like our minor league baseball team. They're going to be playing. So I contacted them to remind them that we do a good national anthem. I think we do one of the best in town, one of the best renditions. They kind of blew me off, but I'll keep after them. They don't like to have, well, we did it one year. We had 10 guys there, and they got bummed out about having to give away 10 tickets or whatever it was. So they've made rules to try to keep the size of the group very small. But we'll see. Maybe we'll get to do that. That would be a step towards performing again in public.
You know, Eric, you bring up a good point. You know, it's good to hear that you've reached out to the, you know, a couple of the sports organizations in your area. One of the things that I think we all should be mindful of, and I'd like to hear some feedback from some chapters if you're willing to share, and that is, do you have you started putting together a plan for when we can start getting together, and so that plan is ready to go to implement, you know, once we are able to start, you know, getting out into the community again? What things have you already planned? Whom have you reached out to beyond that? And this is just generally anybody who wants to answer, but I'd like to hear some thoughts on, you know, what you already have in mind to be able to implement and put into place the moment that you can. implement those things.
I happen to know that Randy Stewart of Plano has been working on that very thing. Randy, you want to jump on that?
There we go. Now I'm
There
unmuted.
you are.
So we, when things return fully to normal, we have a spring show we've really been wanting to get produced, doing a lot of popular music from the 60s. Leading up to that, we're looking for opportunities to increase participation. We're working on drive-in rehearsals, and we've also ordered masks with our logo, and looking for opportunities to rehearse and possibly perform outside in the near future as well. Yeah, at this point, we've been using this format, Zoom. We've had a lot of special guests. We made videos for Christmas, but it hasn't opened up for us to do a lot of things in person together. The church where we rehearse has not opened up yet. Our board and our chorus are not that open to meeting in person yet. So to this point, we've done videos and things like that. Done some interesting things, worked with singer-songwriter Randy Brooks on a video for Christmas. It was fun. But we're looking for opportunities to increase involvement either through using masks or drive-in rehearsal type technology.
Good, good.
I'm going to come right back. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, yeah, Eric.
Good. We did do some outdoor rehearsals way back in May and June of last year. They went over pretty well. A, we got to sing. B, we enjoyed it. But C, we attracted a little attention. I mean, I not that anybody's ever stepped up and said, I'm coming, but we told people who we were. I mean, they just listened to us rehearse. And then at the end, if there were a couple guys sitting on the back of a pickup truck or something, or we just said, come join us. Now, obviously COVID threw that all apart, but that might be a thing we could do again to find that location where people walk in the evening or something and get back to do an outdoor rehearsal. A little cold right now, but you know, maybe April or May.
Yeah, that's good. Mark Clark, I hear that you guys are starting to open up a little bit and do some meeting.
Well, we did. We started Zooming every Monday night back in the end of March last year. And I don't know if we've missed a Monday night Zooming. And a lot of the guys said, hey, I've had one shot or two shots or no shots, but I'm tired of this Zooming. I'm ready to get back together. So we did meet for the first time last Monday night. We Zoomed that rehearsal also for those that didn't feel comfortable attending in person, ordered singers' masks, and we had a good crew. We had nearly 20 show up, which is about 2/3 or a little less of our normal attendance. And so we felt great about that. Most of the others did Zoom if they didn't feel like they were ready to come back yet. So a couple of them are waiting on their second shot, and they said, I'll be back. But we really were stringent on the security part of it. We took the temperature. We had forms to sign. The church where we meet is the church I attend, and a huge meeting room. And so we had plenty of room to spread out. We handed out the masks. The chapter bought the first round of masks and told them if they lose it, the next one's on them. So to take care of them and all of that. So, you know, it's a little different singing in a mask. And so we took some frequent breaks to spread way out and or even step outside and get a little fresh air every few minutes. But it was very successful. And I asked how many of them would be back this Monday night, and all the hands went up. So it was just great. The fellowship was incredible. And what we really strive on is the fellowship. And so that was good to be back. But we've, as far as community outreach, we've been very active in that. San Angelo is a very artsy town, only 100,000 people or so, but there's seems like there was something going every month in a normal year, and we have tried to keep that alive through our social media, and we've posted maybe a song from one of our shows once a week or so during all of this, just to keep on everyone's top of mind that have liked our Facebook page or Instagram or whatever. So we've tried to keep our name out there and just keep that ball rolling. And it really hurt last year. We did cancel our May show, which was the first show in 41 years we haven't done. So that was a big hurt to us, but on our behalf and our venue's behalf, that was a necessary thing to do. So we're planning on trying to do it again this May if things align themselves, but we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah.
Mark, do you think you might be able to speak to how you've been able to reach like new audiences or people who might not be familiar with barbershop, kind of like building that bridge, reaching different kinds of people in your community? Sure.
We do, like I said, an artsy community. In fact, my wife and I sing in the San Angelo Chamber Singers. And so it's about a limited group, about 20 people by audition. And so we have some of the guys from our chorus in that group. And so we had one of our quartets show up one time. 3 of the guys were in the Chamber Singers. One of them wasn't. So he just happened to pop in and we performed for that group. We did an outreach to the largest 2 high schools in town. We have a 6A and a 5A. And so we've taken a quartet with the blessings of the choir director and performed during class, not this past year, but the year before, 2 years before, numerous times. And that paid off on our last show back in 19. The entire chorale from that school sang on our show, men and women. And then the men joined with our chorus and sang Impossible Dream, which they had already learned, society arrangement, and performed with us on our show. So that brought in a lot of parents. If the guys could sing, we're hoping maybe half, at least their dads could also. And that was, we had a marriage proposal the following year. One of our young guys, some of you may know Mason Eubank, met his now wife at that concert. She was in the choir and a senior in high school. So other outreaches is we do a lot of other school. One of the other schools in town does somebody mentioned earlier, a Veterans Day assembly every year. And we have sung the national anthem and 3 or 4 other appropriate patriotic songs at that assembly, I guess for the last 15 or 16 years. And so couldn't do that again this last Veterans Day, but they told us, we're going to be back this year. So Veterans Day, Memorial Day, a lot of those type of performances, singing Valentine's. We usually do around 100. This year, of course, it was low because we did a few in person, but a lot of virtual ones. And then a lot of social media. Just we do have our own YouTube channel, so we send those links out to various organizations, and especially this past year, and try to get them to see what we're about in this point. And then we'll follow up with an invitation to join us now that we're back together again.
Yeah. Are there any other chapters out there that have been doing anything to reach out to new audiences and that sort of thing? Because there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be willing to, ready and willing to jump back in and find outlets to perform and sing once this is over with. And we're primed for actual growth if we can reach out to these other communities. Are there any other chapters out there that have had some success in that?
Hey, Mark went with Oklahoma City. We of course did the singing Valentine's. We're actually planning on doing some of that for Mother's Day. I saw a couple other chapters on the chat that are also looking to do that, which I think is pretty cool. We are looking to hopefully do our annual show in June at an outdoor venue if we can find one. We had a Western set up that we're hoping to actually get back. We're also hoping to plan a masterclass format for some of the high schools and colleges. We had been working with a high school here in town, Del City High. I think you know where that's at, Marcus. Their music teacher is retiring at the end of this year, but we had a pretty good in with them, and we're hoping to carry that on not only with Del City, but to also pass that on to several other schools in town, just to maybe get some more youngins interested and involved. We're still coming up with ideas. We have a brand new membership VP who is a 2-year member and is just bouncing off the walls trying to get us out there. And he has been contacting anybody and everybody. And we just said, go for it, brother, with our blessing. So we'll see what all he comes up with, but we're expecting some good things coming this year.
Excellent. Excellent. Anybody else want to talk about how they've been reaching out to some new communities?
Dwayne put some stuff in the chat.
Yes.
If your cities have any of the 55 plus communities, I know that those are becoming more and more popular as people are downsizing. So I know in the Austin chapter, we've got John, I think David and Chuck all on here from the Acapella, Texas. And pre-COVID, we have sung at some of their happy hours before. So they do those like once a week, and, a quick little 15 or 20 minute set. And you do it in quote unquote our off season, so that when you do have a chapter show or Valentine's are coming up, then they, remember who you are and they recognize you, and you can, go in and invite them to the next performance you might have.
Excellent.
Randy, I saw your hand up.
Yes, just wanted to mention, we were contacted by a theater in Plano, so at least the theaters are thinking about opening up again. At this time, the restrictions were too much for our particular group. They wanted no more than 10 people on stage, and they only wanted a partial audience. But still, it's encouraging that at least they're starting the process of thinking about how to reopen.
Wendell, I understand you're the new director in Shreveport.
We hired a new director just last week, in fact, and so he'll take over tomorrow night, and I'll be standing back up on the risers and having fun. So looking forward to that. We've been meeting since I guess October or something like that. We kind of just took it very low key, worked on our Christmas songs and that kind of stuff like that. Did a performance around the Christmas season. And then we're kind of trying to get geared back up again this year. Attendance has been very low. A lot of our folks are missing and due to the COVID stuff. So we're struggling, I'll be honest with you. Okay. But hopefully we'll pick back up.
Hey, Wendell, how did you find your director? Where did he come from?
Well, we put a committee together, and we just kind of started tossing out some names of some people that we knew. And one person, our new director, Ross Smith is his name. He was on the music faculty at Centenary College here in town. And mostly he's a piano instructor, really. But he was also a choir director at his church. Okay, so he has some choral experience. And we just kind of reached out to see if he might be at all interested, and he was. And he's not doing choir directing stuff. He really doesn't have much music outreach anymore. He left the faculty at Centenary, and he's been in another business now. And so he kind of doesn't have any musical outlet, if you will, even though a lot of his life has been devoted to it. So having the opportunity to kind of get used to being back with the music thing was very something he was looking forward to. So he visited our chapter a few times. I had him do some warm-up exercises for the group and that kind of stuff to get in front of them. And we all seemed to like him, and he's willing to do it. And so we're looking forward to great things.
That's great news, buddy. I know you're excited.
I am. I'm excited. I'll get to sing with my son again. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we're starting to get close to we wanted to try to keep this to about an hour, but in the last few minutes that we've got here, I wanted to kind of find out, first of all, do we find that this type of forum in which we all kind of check in and see how everybody's doing around the district, do we find that useful? Give me a thumbs up if you think so. Good, good. So we'll be doing some more of these as we go along. And secondly, are there some specific subjects that we can be hitting? For instance, we've been talking about doing a Saturday training session where we have the presidents and the treasurers and the secretaries get together, and then we break out into rooms, as we can do on here, to answer specific training questions and that sort of thing. There are training videos available on the YouTube website, but if there's something on there that that isn't addressed in any of the training videos, we can address that there. And then expand that. I know Katie wants to expand that into music and performance and different things involved with that. Are those types of subjects something specific that you'd like to see? Yeah, Michael Crouch, I see you with your
It isn't music exactly, but I'm a family doctor who's been following the whole COVID thing very closely all along. And I've been doing presentations on COVID and then now the COVID vaccine about once every 6 weeks to my church congregation by Zoom and to the Tidelanders. And so I would be happy at some point if people are interested in apprising people of the latest data on how well the viral variants are responding to the vaccines, the UK variant and the South African variant. How that plays out has a hell of a lot to do with whether we'll be able to return to some sort of normality this summer. If the vaccines do a good enough job and we get the case curve flattened enough, then I think our plans for resuming rehearsals in June and having a fall concert will be fine. If we have another spike, and we might, if the South African variant gets a foothold and it's not responding as well to any of the vaccines so far, there's still some uncertainty about how it's going to play out. So I'll be happy to, at some point when the timing is right, in this sort of forum, update people briefly in about a 10-15 minute thing about how we're doing with getting over the pandemic and being able to return to singing in person. We're not singing. We've had some outdoor rehearsals, but our church where we rehearse isn't open yet. And so we can't rehearse inside. And frankly, I'm not safe rehearsing inside yet. I'm 74. My wife is high risk for COVID. We both had our vaccines, but you don't know that it protects you from COVID completely, especially the new variants. So I'd be happy to do some kind of update at some point on that if people are interested.
Definitely.
Hey, Mike.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Hey, this is Rocky. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Michael, I'd like to talk with you offline about doing something for the district, if you'd feel comfortable with that.
Sure,
can you send me your contact info through chat, please?
Okay. I emailed you some pictures of our Valentines, so that's my email address. My email address has come through that. I can add my phone number so you can do a text if you want at some point.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
I'll send another email to you. That's
Thank
the SWD. That's dir-mp at swd.org.
dir-mpr@swd.org. Yeah.
MPR. I messed it up. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll resend it.
Okay. Thanks.
Yep.
Great. All right. Scott, is there anything else that you wanted to touch on as we wrap up?
No, Mark, I think, obviously the idea here was just to get together and try to spur some ideas on not just, what we've done as far as getting through COVID, but more so how do we start to plan to come out of this? I'm not sure we spent as much time on that as I probably would have liked, but I did hear a few things there that sound encouraging, and I would just encourage all of our all of our chapter leaders just to be thinking about that with their chapter leadership. How do we put a plan in place so that when we can start getting together in person, how do we get out to the communities quickly? And I like what Travis is doing, where he's reaching out to whether it's fortuitous or whether it's actually an effort, as it was with the case of up in Amarillo, where they're reaching out to local organizations just to say, hey, we're here. And starting to foster those relationships now, so that when the time comes that we can get out into the community, we'll certainly have a plan ready to go at a moment's notice.
Yeah, I agree. The time is now to plan for post-COVID, how we get back to whatever the new normal is going to be. So,
yeah, it's a good point, you guys, as we wrap up, just making sure that you're putting in the effort to build the rapport now versus waiting to contact them when you just want to sell them a ticket. So keep that in mind when you're wanting to build those relationships and build that audience.
absolutely. Yeah, Russell.
Hey, Mark, I just wanted to tell the guys, so glad that everybody could make it on the call tonight. And I just wanted to let you reaffirm to you guys that y'all are our bosses and we're here to serve you. And as you've heard from everybody that's been on here, that's on the district, we're just ready to serve you in every possible way that we can. If there's a possibility, could you please send us a list? We're trying to correlate the information that we're getting from the member center with our chapter's officers. So could you please send a message to us of who your officers are within your chapter and contact information, so that we can correlate that with the information we're getting from the member center. And at the same time, when we're sending out information to your guys, we're sending it to the correct person. For instance, Katie has some folks that she'd like to work with directly that are music related. The president information, we want to make sure that we're sending that out to the correct president, which may or may not be the person that's listed on the member center. So it's just a way for us to double check the information that we're getting. But thank you so much for being on the call, and thank you very much. Go ahead, Mark.
Well, I got one thing to add, if you don't mind. Yes, I appreciate everybody being here, and I just want to remind you all, send me your cards and letters about your activities, because I want to keep that stuff up alive on our webpage, which is going to be redesigned very soon, and keep it active in our Facebook page and Twitter. Yes, Katie reminded me tonight we do have a Twitter account. So go ahead, Katie.
I just put into the chat, in case anybody didn't see it earlier, Rocky and I built an education webpage that's added to the swd.org site. So if you go across the top there to education, we've built that page with new content. So if you find that either you or your musical leaders are getting a little burnt out and looking for some fresh ideas, I built a page there that's got a bunch of virtual content, things that you could share over Zoom or via email or however your format is. And you're welcome to have access to that and share that with your teams there. So.
And if I could add to that, Katie, the one thing I like about that is that there's a lot of individual and chorus, specifically individual practice information as far as personal preparation and practice, that if members are just like, man, I'm really itching to sing, but I'm just sick and tired of singing in the shower or in the car, and they just want to do some warm-ups of their own, but they're not really sure where to find stuff. There's a bunch of good resources that she's put on that page with Rocky's help that is really, really helpful. So check it out. There's some good stuff there. Yep,
definitely. Well, thanks everybody for being here. And like I said, if we can plan now for post-COVID, we're in great shape. Be sure and send that information into Russell for your officers. And I hope everybody has a great evening. Thank you for being here.
Take care.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Bye, Katie.
Thanks for being here, everybody.